What's up, guys? It's Gibberish HS here, and BlizzCon 2019 just happened, and yeah, there was a lot to talk about from Diablo 4 to Overwatch 2. But today we are talking about Hearthstone because I love Hearthstone and that's what I really love probably most. And I was at BlizzCon this year. You guys probably saw my gear video. And I actually was trying to record a bunch of things after that, from the Battlegrounds new player mode to this video actually right here. I think I tried 4 times, but every time I got into it, my computer either crashed, the internet, my hotel wasn't working, or I was just busy at the convention, and so I am sorry it's taking this long to get this video to y'all.
What's up, everyone? It's Gibberish HS here. I am here at BlizzCon. Hey, everyone, it's Gibberish HS here. I'm about to leave from is Hunter. Hunter is getting some.
But on the good news, it's coming out now, and at least you'll have some better quality video than like we had at the gear video. So we're getting into Descent of Dragons, and we're going to look at this entire all the cards that we got from this expansion and just what to expect from this expansion and what my initial thoughts are. I've already reviewed these cards like 6 times because of the video crashing, so if I'm a little quick about it, that's probably why. We did get a lot of cards for an revealing uh, thing for us. We usually don't get this many cards from BlizzCon, at least not from what I know. So I actually am really excited to go over all these. So let's start with Rogue, and I'm starting with Rogue because it has the new mechanic into it. So we're gonna get straight into the new mechanic. So we're gonna start with Galakrond. Galakrond is the new hero card for 5 classes, and his new Galakrond is what really the new mechanic's gonna be around. You may see it right here. It's called Invoke. So how Invoke works is it triggers his hero power. So what will happen is you'll have cards that say like Invoke Galakrond throughout the set. Neutral, Rogue, Priest, different minions or spells will say Invoke Galakrond. When they say Invoke Galakrond, what even if he's in your deck, what this will do is it will trigger Galakrond's hero power, and you will get it. So as we can see here, uh, his hero power is called Galakrond's Gil. Or Gao, I don't know how to say that. Hero power, add a lackey to your hand. So every time you play a card that says invoke, it's going to add a lackey to your hand, which is really good, like really good. So as you can see on the card here, it also says invoke twice to upgrade. So not only when you play an invoke minion, it triggers his hero power, in this case gives you a lackey, but the more you invoke, you can upgrade the hero card to be better. So as you can see, Galakrond is a 7-cost rogue hero card. It says battle card, draw 1 card, it costs 0, invoke twice to upgrade. So that's not that good, to be honest. The hero power is pretty good, but that's not really anything that'll be like, there are way better options. But if you invoke twice, you get to draw 2 cards to upgrade. And if you invoke 2 more times, so a total of 4 times, you get to draw 4 cards that cost 0, and you equipped a 5/2 weapon. So you get a lot once it's fully upgraded. Plus, when you're invoking, you're getting all this stuff. So in this case, you're getting at least 4 lackeys in this. So that's pretty good. I think the lackey is really, really strong for this hero power. We have it's just a really good card, to be honest. Uh, and one thing that's interesting, it says add a lackey to your hand. It doesn't say add a random lackey, so I guess we have to see it work. Uh, but like, I guess if you use this, it would just add it to it. Maybe it would let you choose. I don't think so though. So that's really good. So 5 out of 5 for Galakrond the Nightmare. All the Galakrons I love. I just love dragon cards, and I just love hero classes. So I may be a little biased on that, but that's how I feel about that. So Galakrond is in 5 classes. He's in Rogue, Warlock, Shaman, warrior, and I believe priest. So he is in 5 classes, and in those 5 classes are those are the League of Evil classes, and Galakron is a bad dragon. So he sides with the League of Evil and the storyline that they're going for. So you'll see a different Galakron in every class in every League of Evil class, and he's yeah, and so he has the same effect. Convoke, different hero power, different battle cry, but all of them, when they're upgraded to their final peak, so when they've been invoked 4 times, they all have a stronger battle cry, and they all equipped a 5/2 weapon. So Galakron the Nightmare is kind of like the new, I guess you could say, kind of like Cthulhu in a way. That's what it reminds me of. Very like no matter where he's in the deck, you get to do something. You have cards that build around him. So very cool looking card. Our next card is called Seal of Fate for Rogue. It's a 3 cost rare spell, and it says deal 3 damage to an undamaged character. Invoke Galakron. So since you're playing this in Rogue, when you play Invoke Galakron, it's going to trigger the hero power. So you're going to add a random lackey to your hand. Is this good? I think it's pretty good. Now there are better cards for it. I don't think it's great, but I don't think it's bad. Like, I like it a lot. My only problem with it is that it's a little expensive. But then again, you're getting a lackey for this, so I actually think it's pretty good. So I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's a very good card. We'll have to wait to see. I think it'll be a great arena card though, no matter what. Alright. So next is Plays Galakron. This is just a 1 cost common spell. Give a minion +1 attack. Invoke Galakron. So give a minion +1 attack and get a lackey. I actually think that's pretty good. Uh yeah, the reason why I say that is like I don't think the 1 attack is anything to really talk about. But what's interesting to me is that when you have this Invoke Galakron, getting a lackey generation is very strong. I don't think this card will really be played in decks, but I do think it'll be a good card to generate maybe, and we might see it in some decks. I just think that only 1 attack is too slow, so I'm gonna give this 2 out of 5. I kind of changed my mind on it in the middle of talking about it, but yeah, I the more I think about it, the more I don't like this card. I just don't see it fitting in any deck. Alright, Umbral Stalker. Battlecry, if you've invoked twice, add 3 coins to your hand. She's a 4 cost 3/3 epic. So, invoking throughout. They're pushing this invoke mechanic very hard, but you kind of have to with how they've built it. So, adding 3 coins to your hand. I think if you're playing an invoke card, this card is already. Like, if you're playing an invoke deck, this is already pretty good. And I think. Like it would suck, but I think you could just play this minion on its own if you had to. So I actually think this card's very good. I like it. I think the 3 coins is a very valuable thing for Rogue to have, especially in the later game. More combos, and we know how Rogue loves to draw and stuff. So this is a very good way for them to do that, I think. So 4 out of 5 for me. I think this is a very good card, and we'll definitely see at least some play in some Invoke deck. Waxadread, our first dragon of the dragon expansion of Descent of Dragons. 5 cost 7/5 dragon, legendary, and it's for rogue. Defral, shuffle a candle into your deck that resummons Waxadread when drawn. Now this is very interesting. We haven't seen a whole lot of Waxadread this type of resummoning. I would say the closest we've gotten to is I think his name's Malinor. He's the giant beast in from Goblins vs. Gnomes for Druid. He shuffles into the deck when he dies. I don't believe he resummons though, so I think this is actually pretty good. Um, yeah, I think this will be played because Rogue just definitely has a lot of shuffling and drawing abilities to definitely get this working, and they have a lot of death route triggers too. So yeah, I actually think I think it's a good card. I don't think it's like game breaking, But I think this is a very good meme card just because I can see several people somehow shuffling like 8 of these into their deck with Togwaggle Scheme and stuff like that. So, very fun card at the least. Candle Breath. Got it looks like Wax of Dreads in the background there. 6 costs rogue spell. Candle Breath, common. Draw 3 cards, cost 3 less while you're holding the dragon. Now this is something we're going to see throughout the expansion. Every class, from what I know, is getting a card that does something better when you're holding a dragon. So I actually think this card is very good. Um, I actually think its power level is very good. I just the problem with these cards sometimes, guys, is that you get cards that are very good, but it's hard to fit them in a deck. Like, they're kind of like made for a deck that hasn't appeared yet. And this early in the expansion, it's hard to see if they're going to push for that deck, and that deck will be in the expansion. So it's kind of hard to tell, but I like this card. I think it's good, but I don't know if it really will fit into a deck. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I'm going to kind of compromise a little bit and say 3 out of 5. So. That is all of Rogue that we have today. Our next class is going to be Priest. So Priest has another Galakron, and this is what I was saying. Each class gets a different type of Galakron. This one's called Galakron the Unspeakable. So he is a 7-cost hero card, same as the other one, 5 armor. And it says battle card, destroy 1 random enemy minion, invoke twice to upgrade. So same thing as the last one. You invoke once. I mean, if you've invoked twice, you get to destroy 2 random enemy minions. If you invoke another 2 times, so a total of 4 times, you get to destroy 4 random enemy minions, plus you get a 5/2 weapon. And then his hero power is Galakron's Wit. Add a random priest to minion to your hand. So adding priest has a good time with generation, but it's mainly spell generation. Uh, I actually think this card is very good. Not just because I love hero cards in Galakron, but seeing a random priest minion, just getting a generation every time you play a card that says invoke is very valuable, I think. So I very much like this card. I think it's very good. 5 out of 5. Time Rip. 5 cost priest spell that's for rare, and it says destroy a minion, invoke Galakron. So basically, destroy a minion, add a random priest minion to your hand. Is that good? Yeah. I think it is. And by the way, with all the Galakron guys, it's going to really depend on how heavy they push for Galakron in each class. They may push harder, like kind of like they did with the Boomsday Project. Boomsday Project was a big mech expansion, but they pushed mechs stronger in certain classes than they did others. So I can see that happening with this expansion. Invoke decks are more popular in maybe Rogue and Warlock than rather priest and shaman, something like that. That's more than possible. So just keeping that in mind from this initial response, if they push invoke for every class hard, I can see that becoming a thing. So back to the card. Is this a good card? I think it's okay. I don't really think it's good enough to. I think it'll see some play at least in the beginning. I just don't see a lot of play in the late game, like in Hearthstone and Standard. Like maybe a week in the expansion, no one will use it, just because I don't see getting a random minion good enough to push that forward. Which you do know there's Assassinate, which is a 5-cost spell that destroys an enemy minion, which is the same thing, but you get to invoke something, which is good. Uh, I think it's just gonna depend on how many more invoke cards we get for priest, to be honest, and which ones are spells. So right now I'm gonna say 3 out of 5. I just need to see more invoke cards before I give it a better review. So Fate Weaver is a 4-cost 3/6 dragon. We know Priest is a dragon class, so it's gonna be interesting to see how it gets affected. Fate Weaver is a 4-cost 3/6 dragon, which has a battle cry saying that if you've invoked twice, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. Is this good? I think this is great. Definitely a 4-star card without a doubt. Maybe a 5-star card in the future. I think that if you're playing an Evoke deck, this is going to be no problem. We have seen cards that are kind of cheaper that do Invoke. So I think it's very easy to play this on turn 4 or 5 and be able to achieve that. Plus, just playing a 4/3/6 dragon, I actually think is a good price. And then also having the value of having a dragon in your hand with all these effects that we're seeing. I think this card is just really good. So definitely a 4-star card for Priest. All right, next is Shaman. You may be wondering why I'm changing the order with this. I'm doing all the League of Evil ones first, and then we'll get to the League of Explorer classes. So next is Lightning Breath. Lightning Breath is a 3-cost Shaman spell. It's rare and it says deal 4 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, also damage its neighbors. Now, of course, this depends on how heavy they push dragons for Shaman. This is the only card for Shaman that we have, so it's kind of hard to see where they're going to go with that. They have said that more dragons are going to be in this expansion than any other expansion. So I do not doubt that there will be dragons in enough to make this work. Because dealing 4 damage for 3 is not that good, but dealing 12 damage for 3 is really good. So this is a very good card. It kind of reminds me of Lightning Storm, but it's more focused. So I think it breaks itself enough to work. Decks I could see this working in, honestly, would be something like Battlecry Shaman, just because I can see you need removal. I think there's Lightning Storm and Battlecry Shaman and stuff like that. This could be a replacement if you didn't want the overload effect. So I like it. I think it's a good card. Now, I don't think it's going to be like anything crazy, so I'm just going to give it a 3 out of 5, possibly, or it could be a 4. It's just I need to see more dragons for Shaman before I give it that. Which we should have a Galakron for Shaman, so that'll be interesting. All right. Galakron for Warlock. Galakron the Wretched. He is a core 7 cost with 5 armor. Hero card. Battlecry summon 1 random demon. Invoke twice to upgrade. So again, you invoke twice, 2 random demons. You invoke another 2 times, 4 random demons, plus a 5/2 weapon. And then his hero power is summon 2 1/1 imps. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. This card is probably the most aggressive out of all the Galakrons that I've seen so far. The reason why I say that is I can see you just throwing Galakron into a Zoolock deck. Alright? You throw him into a Zoolock deck. And then what you do is you just put... Over time, we're going to get more Invoke cards for Neutral and for Warlock. And when that happens, some of them will be good in a Zoolock deck. And all you gotta do is every time you play a card that says Invoke, you're going to get 2 1/1 imps. That's going to be so good. The value that you will get from Galakron in this deck, in a Zoolock deck, you don't even need to play Galakron. And as you're invoking him, he's going to summon 4 random demons. For Zoolock, that's fine. And then you're going to get a 5/2 weapon. Typically, you're going to want the game to be over by around 7 with Zoolock, preferably probably a little less, but whatever, you do what you can. I've seen Zoolock games go up to 9, so that's possible. Playing this is not a big deal, but just having it in your deck is the key. This card is so good, guys. I can't I think this is going to be a great card for Zoolock. So without a doubt, this is a 5-star card. I think it's crazy. Dragonblight Cultist, he's a 3-cost 1/1 rare. Battlecry Invoke Galakron, gain +1 attack for each other friendly minion. So this is what's kind of crazy with this card. Like, it's not great, but you gotta remember the +1 attack should apply to the 2 imps that you summon, because Invoke goes first, and then it says gain +1 attack. So I actually think this card's pretty good if you are in a Zoolock deck. If you have a way to maybe give it health too, that would be great. I think it's mainly just, I don't think it's going to be crazy. But I do think the 1/1 imps are what you're going to want with this. So uh, I would give this card 3 out of 5. I think it's a good card. I mainly just am saying the Invoke is what really makes this card worth anything. Fiendish, Our Fendish Rites. It's a 3-cost Warlock spell. Common. Invoke Galakron. Give your minions +1 attack. So this is it's proving my point, guys. Okay, it's proving my point. All right. So if you invoke Galakron, this is just summon two 1/1 imps and give all your minions +1 attack. Is this good? I think this is good. You may look at this card and say, no, that's too much mana for it. I don't think you need to put 2 of these in your deck, but I think one of these is good because what you're going to do is you can have, let's say, the problem with Zoolock is you try to set up for a board and then they kill it, or you can't. Or like something happens, or they get enough minions away where you don't want to waste a buff on just like, let's say you had 5 minions and he killed 3. So you only have 2 minions. You don't want to waste a buff on just 2 minions when if you had 5 you could win the game, you know? This card really helps with that because it gives you 2 extra minions with the buff. So I'm going to say this card is a 4-star card. That may be too much. It may not be that good. But I actually think this card has potential to be pretty strong in the Zoolock. Finally, Veiled Worshipper, 4 costs 5/4, epic, and this is battle cry. If you've invoked twice, draw 3 cards. Holy crap! Oh my god, this is ridiculous. So I'm just gonna blurt it out real quick. 5 stars. All right, this card, Zulok, it doesn't have a problem with drawing. I mean, it does a little bit, but not like huge compared to other decks like Murlocs and like Secret Paladin. It has a problem with taking too much damage for drawing. And you have some healing cards, but this card is so good. I think Galakron the Wretched is going to make Zulok so good. Because Zulok is usually going to be one of the top decks when the expansion comes out. I think, at the rate we're seeing it, I think Galakron the Wretched could possibly push that to stay on top. Now, don't quote me on that, but I actually think that could be something good. I think this could be an actual crazy deck. Because, like, this card is so good if you've invoked. And even then, it has a good stats. Like, it's not horrible, it's not great, but, like, it has good stats. So, drawing 3 cards for 4 mana is not that bad. It's not. We have a mage spell that draws 2 cards for 3. So one more, for 1 more mana, you're drawing an extra card, you're getting a Battlecry minion, and a 5/4 minion. That is not bad at all. This card is great, and I am probably overreacting to how it should be, but this is crazy for me. Like, I honestly can't believe it. Alright, next is Warrior. So Warrior doesn't have much except for Deathwing. What? He is back. But he's an 8-cost 12/12 dragon. This is Battlecry attack all other minions. I actually think this card is pretty good. So it kind of reminds me of the 9-cost, I believe it was a 9-cost 9/7 dinosaur from Ungoro. I actually think that card was really good. No, my bad. That was a hunter one. There was a 9/9 dragon. I mean dinosaur. Jeez, and when if you played it, it attacked the first minion that your opponent played. It wasn't really used too much, but it was like a good card to get, like from evolving or something like that. So first of all, evolving is going to be so much better with this. Summoner's Mage is going to have so much fun with this, okay? Let's just get that out of the way, okay? Second of all, I actually think this is very good for Warrior because it's a very good way to remove the board and to clear room. And if you're not going to remove the board, not a big deal. And I think the only real problem it has is either Poison or Divine Shield. So I think this card is very good. 4 stars. I like it. I think it's a good card. Next class we're gonna get into the League of Explorers. We just got done with all of the League of Evil. So now we're gonna get into Paladin, which only has 1 card right now. So not anything really to worry about. Let's see here. Oh, we got a new card. This wasn't here like yesterday, guys. Wow. Okay. Nozdormu the Timeless. So Nozdormu is a 4-cost 8/8 dragon. Holy crap! Battlecry set each player to 10 mana crystals. Whoa. Okay. So setting. So you get an advantage for getting a 8/8 dragon like that. Wow. But setting your each player's mana crystals to 10. That's crazy. That is ridiculous. Sorry, I haven't had time to react to this, guys. This wasn't here when I was first looked at it earlier. So wow, I actually think that's pretty good. Uh, if you are playing it right. So if you play this at 4 mana, I'm not sure if it refreshes your mana crystals or if it just sets you at 10 and they get to go first. I think they get to go first, and in that case, it's going to be interesting because it's really going to depend on what deck your opponent's playing. If they're playing a more aggressive deck, this may be great for you because then now you can play your big stuff. I actually love Big Paladin. I've always loved it. I just think I've never really played it too much because at the time I never really had the mana, the dust to craft the deck. But this I actually think is very good. I would love to see a Big Paladin deck again. I'm just not sure. It really depends because, like, what if your opponent's playing a big mana deck, and then you play this? Oh, okay. I want to play Call of the Wild now. You're dead. Okay, like, it's a very risky card. So I think it's gonna be more of a mean card than a good card. But the stats are what's really good because we have that one card, the time card, and priest. I forget what class. But anyway, there was a time card that you you skip your first 2 turns. Like you skip 2 turns and then you get 2 turns. So like your opponent gets two free turns and you get 2 free turns. The problem is your opponent got to go first, and the stats weren't that good. So this has good stats. I mean, a 4 cost 8/8 is just good in general. So it is going to be interesting to see that. I might have to come back to this card to review it. Might need more time to think about it. But right now I'm going to give it 3 and like actual practicality, but 5 for like memes all around. So, and plus, anyone who's evolving a 3 mana card into a 4 mana card is going to love this card. So Shaman's gonna love this card too. Oh my god, I thought there was only one card and we got a legendary Nozdormu, guys. Wow. Okay, Sand Breath. 1 cost 1/2. 1 cost Paladin spell. Give a minion +1/+2. Give it Divine Shield if you're holding a dragon. Is this good? Not really. Alright, let's move on. 2 stars. Wow. Sorry, I'm still recovering from the Nozdormu thing. Okay. Alright. So next is Maligos, Aspect of Magic. He is a Battlecry minion, and it says if you're holding a dragon, discover an upgraded mage spell. So this is interesting. What is an upgraded mage spell? Well, an upgraded mage spell is something like a fireball for that deals 8 damage instead of 6, or a polymorph that costs 1 mana instead of 4. Stuff like that is what they mean by upgraded spell. Those they showed 3 at BlizzCon. I'm not sure if there. I'm sure there are more. I'm sure they've redone a bunch of mage spells to be upgraded. So I actually think this card's very good. The stats kind of suck. So it's gonna depend the cards that you can get with this. Like if they upgrade, maybe they'll updo the 10 cost spell that does 10 damage. My mind, Flame Blast, I think is what it's called, or Flame Bolt. My mind is blank. But anyway, if they do something like that, that can potentially be very, very good. So I think we'll just have to see more spells, but definitely a 4-star card right now. Alright, Azura Explorer. She's a 4-cost 2/3 dragon, and she's from mage, and she's a common. Spell damage +2, Battlecry, discover a dragon. I think this card's good. I don't think it's great, but like, I think it's a good arena card, and I think it might have a place in a deck. I think the only reason why someone would really put this in a deck is for the dragon aspect about it, and the fact you can discover a dragon. I don't know. I think the spell damage should just be like an added on thing. So I like it. I'll give it 3 out of 5. So I think it's a good card. And next is Learn Draconic. Now, Learn Draconic is our first new type of card called side quests. Now, unlike normal quests, side quests are just quests that you can. They're not legendary, so you can have multiple of them in your deck. They're either commons, rares, or epics. Um, they're not as powerful as a normal deck, but since you can add multiple of them, that's fine. And the final thing is that they don't start in your hand, which is kind of a big deal, but not like to where it's crazy. So these cards are not as powerful, but they have cool effects and they're more flexible. So Learn Draconic is a side quest that spend 8 mana on spells, reward summoning 6/6 dragon. The more I think about this card, the more I think, alright, this is a good card for summoning mage. That's honestly where I see it going the best, if I'm being honest. I think it'd be great in Summoning Mage. Just because you play it, you start doing your big thing, you play minions, you resummon them, you play spells, a stall, you get a 6/6. You can transform that into something else if you wish. It's up to you. So I honestly think this card is pretty good. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I think we'll have to wait. Most of these cards, to be honest, it's really hard to grade a card this early in the expansion. So I can't really say for sure what I think about it, but right now I'm saying 4. It's possible we could go lower or higher. So we just have to wait and see. All right. Hunter. Okay. We have Corrosive Breath, 2-cost Hunter spell, and it's a common. It says deal 3 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, it also hits the enemy hero. So there's another one of those if you're holding the dragon mechanics. So this is actually pretty good. Dealing 6 damage for 2 mana alone is pretty epic. So I think this is a very good card. I'm going to give it 3 stars. I'm not giving it 4, and the reason is because you need a dragon, of course. Um, the reason why I'm saying that is because Dragon Hunter, they've kind of pushed for it in the past, but it's never really become a thing. So I can't really say for certain like that it's gonna be it. It depends how hard they push dragons in this expansion for Hunter. So we'll just have to wait 2 weeks, and then I can probably by then we'll know more. Primordial Explorer is a 3-cost 2/3 dragon. Poisonous Battlecry, discover a dragon. It's a common. Very similar to the Azura, I believe, Explorer and Mage that we just saw. I think that's what it was called. Azura is very similar to this, except for costs 1 more and has spell damage instead of poisonous. Is the 1 mana cheaper better for poisonous? For Hunter, I don't think so. Uh, spell damage for the mage helps because mage does a lot of spells. There isn't really a lot of opportunity where you need a poisonous minion like that, and it doesn't even have taunt or anything to really push it forward. I don't know. The more I see this card, the more I dislike it. That's just me. I just think it's meh. So I'm gonna give it 3 stars. Uh, yeah, I don't think it'll be played that much. Now in Arena, different story. I think this will be a good Arena card, but right now, I don't think it's that good. Toxic Reinforcements is our next side quest. It's an epic side quest, so it says use your hero power 3 times, and your reward is summon 3 1/1 Leopard Gnomes. Leopard Gnomes are the 1/1 gnomes with the death route dealing 2 damage to the enemy hero. So that's a total of you doing 12 damage, and if you're lucky, you could get the minions to attack, so it's an extra 3. Is that worth it? I think that's really good. The only problem with this card is trying to draw it in time for it to be useful. If you're in the later game, this card isn't that good, most likely. Because when you're in the later game, you probably don't want to waste your time on hero powers. In the earlier game, if you could like get this card in your hand, this card's probably really good. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I think it's a pretty good card. I think it just depends when you draw it. Dragonbane is our first legendary for Hunter. It's a 4-cost 3/5 mech, not a dragon mech. And it says after you use your hero power, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. The fact that this says random enemy is what makes this amazing to me. I love this card. The more I look at it, the more I review it, I love it. If you look here, 5 damage to a random enemy. Well, if there are only 2 things on the field and you play this at 10 mana, that's fine. If you play this at 6 mana, that's fine. 4, you probably don't want to play it on 4 because you probably want to get the effect out of it. But like, it's good and it's at a cheap price where you can play this and still have a good combo with it. So I really like this card. I'm probably overreacting by saying 5 stars. So I'll give it 4, but I think it has the potential to definitely be a 5-star card because we already know Mech Hunter is kind of a good deck, and so I think we can see more of that from this card. Dwarven Sharpshooter. He's a 1-cost 1/3 minion, and he's a common. And he says your hero power can target minions. Is that good? Yeah, that's pretty good. Think about it. You have 3 mana, you play this guy, use your hero power to snipe a minion. This allows Hunter to be a little more controlling, and I like that. I like a more controlled late game Hunter. Hunter is known because of its hero power to go pure phase, to just deal damage and kill people quickly. My favorite days of Hunter were Kobolds and Catacombs Day. An expansion I liked, but I loved Hunter because of Katharina. Katharina made Hunter a late game deck. With Big Beast, I am for that. Give me Big Beast, late game Hunter, and that's what I was for. So anything that helps me do that, I'm for. So this may not be specifically pushing for a late game, but I think it's a good enough card to be put into an aggro deck or a late game deck. It's up to you. And this card is very similar to what's basically the same card that we saw in Grand Tournament. So the fact that it's a common and not an epic is pretty cool. Phase Stalker is our last card for Hunter, and it's a 2-cost 2/3 beast with a rare valuable. Sorry, my mind went blank. After you use your hero power, cast a secret from your deck. I think this is pretty good. The fact that it's a beast is what makes this pretty good for me. If it was just a normal minion, I would think of it more as like a neutral type minion than a hunter. But since it's hunter, it's gotta be a beast. Is this good? I think this is pretty good. Secret Hunter has always been around since I feel like I've been playing the game, so I think this card is just gonna be a very casual, good card. So 4 out of 5. And if I didn't, I think I did this one already, but 4 out of 5 for that one too. All right, final class, and then we're into neutral. Is Druid. Druid is some fun stuff. It seems like we're going back to some traditional stuff. 2-cost spell, rare, and it says Breath of Dreams. Draw a card if you're holding a dragon. Gain an empty mana crystal. I actually think this is really good. I think people will run dragons, and this will be a great card to run in it. I think drawing a card for 2 mana isn't that bad either, but I think this card is great. It's a 4-star card without a doubt for me. What makes it so good is just like it's so much value for one card to me at such a cheap price. So I think this is a very good card. Emerald Explorer, 6 cost for a taunt. Battlecry discover a dragon. It is a dragon. I think this card is okay. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5, and I've already reviewed this several times, so I'm kind of like whatever about it. I think it's just a good arena card, and I don't think it's a great standard card. I say that because it's a little clunky to put into a deck, if you know what I mean. It's a little too it's too expensive for the type of dragon it is. So if it had like a board removal or something like that, or maybe something that just gave it a little more value, I think it would definitely be able to go in the standard. But at the current rate that it looks and at the current dragons that we have, I'm not a huge fan of it. But I think it will be very good in arena. So I'm gonna give it 3 stars. And finally, Ysera Unleash. This is one of my favorite dragons that they released so far. 9-cost 4/12 dragon. Can't have Ysera not being a 9-cost 4/12. It says, Battlecry shuffle 7 Dream Portals into your deck. When drawn, summon a random dragon. So summoning a random dragon is interesting because most dragons are big. But then again, we are getting dragons in this expansion more than we've ever had. And that means that most of the dragons most likely aren't going to be huge. Most of them will either be something like the hunter one or something like that compared to what just big dragons. I think any dragon probably up 5 or above would be pretty good. And this is something I actually think is good with Emerald Explorer. I think getting Emerald Explorer for free is a great card. Like if you just drew Emerald Explorer from Ysera Unleashed, I think that would be great. So I'm fine with cards like Emerald Explorer coming into this expansion because of cards like Ysera Unleashed, because they could still have value in standard. So Ysera Unleashed is a 5-star, is a 4-star card. My bad. All right, and these are our 4 neutral cards. We have 4 cost 2/2. It says Rush, Battlecry, Invoke, Galakron. Is that good? Depending the class, I feel like you're running it in. I don't think this would be that good. And the Warrior one and the Warlock one, because Warlock isn't really that fancy. Like it's not really a big fan of Rush. This mini doesn't have enough health to keep it alive, I feel like. So, I think it's not that good of a card, if we're being honest, but you never know. Invoke cards, it really just depends how many of them we get, which I'm expecting a lot, for how much they're having to push this. I'm going to give it 2 stars. 7 cost 7/7, Evasive Draconid. Dragon, and it says Taunt can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. So this is something I think. I don't think you'll ever put this in a deck, if I'm being honest. Unless you're going for some like Taunt Dragon deck, I don't see you putting this in a standard deck. I think you could grab this for Arena. I think this card would be great for Arena. And I think this card would be awesome to just summon it or to discover it. So discovering this dragon would be great, or getting it from like Ysera Unleashed would be amazing because it can't be targeted by spells or hero power. So I'm gonna give it 3 stars because I think it will be a good dragon to somehow be in games, but I don't see it as a dragon that will be put into decks. And Twin Tyrant. He's a dragon too. 8 cost 4, 10 dragon. Battlecry deal 4 damage to 2 random enemy minions. It's a commons and it's for neutral, so that's very interesting. Again, I think more of a arena card, but I could see this into a deck. It seemed a little weak with stats to really do that, so it's an interesting card. So I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5. Um, yeah, it has an interesting twist to it. And Shield of Galakron, Taunt, Battlecry, Invoke Galakron. It's a 5 cost 4/5 taunt. Is this good? Yeah. Since Warrior, if I'm right, is getting a Galakron, then yeah, we should see. I can see this put into a Taunt Warrior deck, depending how good Galakron is. I can see this in a Warlock deck, maybe. A 5 cost 4/5 taunt that summons 2/1/1 imps, that's not bad. So I can see this one being much more flexible and it being put into Galakron decks. So I'm going to give this one 3 stars, but it has much more potential than the previous neutral cards, I think, for standard. So there you go, guys. That is all of the cards for Descent of Dragons that we know of at the moment. As you can see, it is quite a long list. And yeah, we've gotten a lot of stuff, a lot more than we usually get at BlizzCon. I feel like, at least not that many legendaries. Like let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's it. 6, 7, 8 legendaries at the reveal. That's a pretty big deal for Hearthstone. So I am a fan of it. I think it's pretty cool. And I am all for this invoke mechanic. I think this invoke mechanic is very cool. I can definitely see it, and by far, I'm most excited about Warlock. To be honest, I am a big Warlock fan, but I'm not usually a big Zoolock fan. So it is going to be fun to see all this happen. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. This is like take 7. I lost track. So I hope you guys enjoy it. There were some stumbles, like with the Norzdamu card, so I apologize for that. But I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I'm glad I was able to finally get my feedback on it. And I'll have another video on what I thought about BlizzCon, what my initial thoughts were on the expansion, and just all that. So you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.